Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior and welcome back to yet another Mortal Kombat video. Now in today's topic and discussion, I wanted to talk about some events circulating around the Mortal Kombat Reboot movie, as well as the infamous original character that it's centered around, Cole Young. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because it could possibly give us some insight on what exactly is going on with the character, how integral is he to the story, and what may in fact be the character's future in the Mortal Kombat franchise, as I think there may in fact be a lot more going on with this character than what we simply just hear about in a synopsis. Now before we go further in this video, I am going to let you know that the end half of it will strongly be based on a theory of mine, as well as the work ethic and cycle of NetherRealm Studios. This comes from my own general knowledge of the studio as well as game development as a whole, so hopefully it may shine a bit of a light on this character as well as what could happen in possibly a Kombat Pack 3. Now with that being said, let's talk about the Mortal Kombat Reboot and how exactly is Cole Turner tied into it. Now the last time we actually got a mainline Mortal Kombat movie that was on a global stage was back in 1997. That of course being the infamous Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Well, it's needless to say that, well, the movie kinda bombed. It's a film so bad that Jesus wept. How bad? Well, it was so bad that it kind of buried the license on a global stage, killed many of the actors' careers that were a part of it, and basically completely destroyed the idea of a third installment. So this being said, the license was kind of dead on the cinematic stage, and it wouldn't be revived until Midway's fall in 2009, where its assets would then be purchased by Warner Brothers, who then successfully breathed new life into the series in Mortal Kombat 9. From here we got to Mortal Kombat Rebirth, which eventually evolved into Mortal Kombat Legacy, an online web series made by Machinima that received mixed reviews from critics and fans alike. Now really, the web series was created to pad out time for an official Mortal Kombat movie, as Warner didn't quite have the money to want to invest in a project like this, especially seeing as it was still early days and there was only one installment in the reboot. Now sadly, this film would be left in a creative limbo, as the director of Mortal Kombat Legacy would shortly part ways after season 2. Here the Mortal Kombat movie existed in a creative void, effectively being left up in the air. It was only up around 2015 and 16 where things finally started to move forward, and a producer, director and screenwriter was finally picked up. After multiple different drafts, one was finally approved in early 2019, with casting also taking place shortly afterwards. With the cast assembled, filming would take place in Australia and shortly wrap up in the later half of 2019. Now originally this film was scheduled for a March 2021 release, but of course due to the C virus, its release was left up in the air, as no one understandably knew what was going on. That is until earlier this year where we got official news on the project, and that its new release date would be April 16th, 2021, with an official synopsis stating the following. In Mortal Kombat, MMA fighter Cole Young, accustomed to taking a beating for money, is unaware of his heritage, or why Outworld's Emperor Shang Tsung has sent his best warrior Sub-Zero, an otherworldly cryomancer, to hunt Cole down. Fearing for his family's safety, Cole goes in search of Sonya Blade at the direction of Jax, a special forces major who bears the same strange dragon marking Cole was born with. Soon he finds out at the temple of Lord Raiden, an elder god and protector of Earthrealm, who grants him sanctuary to those who bear the mark. Here Cole trains with experienced warriors Liu Kang, Kung Lao and the rogue mercenary Kano, as he prepares to stand with Earth's greatest champions against the enemies of Outworld. Against the enemies of Outworld in a high-stakes battle for the universe. But will Cole be pushed hard enough to unlock his arcana, his immense power from within his soul, in time to not only save his family, but to stop Outworld once and for all? Now, it's quickly worth noting and mentioning that there has been some corrections with this synopsis, like Emperor Shang Tsung and Elder God Raiden. These are in fact typos and something that the screenwriter Greg Russo has come out to correct on Twitter. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the Mortal Kombat license and universe, there are many notable names and faces that you'll recognize here. That is, except Cole Young. Now, from what we are currently aware about Cole Young, is that he is serving as the newbie fish out of water audience character. It's someone the audience can relate to if this is the very first time they're being exposed to Mortal Kombat. Johnny Cage serves a similar role in the very first movie, as well as the series reboot in Mortal Kombat 9. But the main differences between Cole Young and Johnny Cage is that, well, Cage is absent from this movie, and Cage was established before the very first film, having appeared in Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. So this is noticeably why Cole's appearance kind of feels out of place, especially with the push the Cage family has had in recent years, with the series kind of focusing and centering on special forces instead of the martial arts oriented cast from the previous timeline in games. I think that's mostly why this choice feels a little bit strange as decisions do go. Now, this being said, what exactly do we know about Cole Young? Well, the synopsis kind of does say a lot, and there has been some early drafts of the script that do lightly go over his character, but this can most certainly be changed, so please don't take everything I do say here as gospel, but this is what we currently know about Cole Young, formerly known as Cole Turner. Well, Cole is a well-versed MMA fighter and a family man, taking losses in the ring for money, which he uses to look after his daughter, who is reportedly being played by the young actress Matilda Kimber. Now, as of right now, Cole's heritage is a mystery to everyone, but he has seemingly been cast upon by fate. Being born with a mysterious dragon marking, he's now bound to be part of the Mortal Kombat tournament, as well as an Earthrealm defender, something he's been hunted by for the opposing side. Now, whilst this may be done on Outward's part to take a few players off the board, this could in fact be done out of fear, not knowing the power that Cole has inside of him, possibly believing that by stomping him out early, they could possibly stop him learning about his mysterious and powerful heritage. As for what this power is, well, that's the big mystery as of right now. We simply don't know. Now, there has been multiple different theories since the synopsis has released, one of them being the infamous green energy due to Cage's absence, as Cole is effectively serving a very similar role to the character. Another is that he's secretly Kuai Liang, which does explain Bi-Han's involvement with Shang Tsung and why Bi-Han is tracking him down. But seeing as Cole is for the most part a completely new character, I believe they'll probably double down and give him something completely unique to him, something like the heart or essence of the dragon, seeing as he's tied to the tournament and branded with a dragon tattoo. It seems like something that would allow Cole to be tied to the tournament in more of a literal sense than one simply done by fate. So, with Cole's origin now for the most part covered, what are the chances of him making it into a Mortal Kombat game? Maybe Mortal Kombat 12 or hypothetically a Kombat Pack 3? Well, I'm gonna be 110% honest with you. I think the chances are pretty damn high. Now, before people like bend and contort my words, no, I don't know if there's going to be a Kombat Pack 3. No, I don't know how long the support will be for Mortal Kombat 11. And no, I don't know if Injustice 3 will be coming out this year. But what I do know is the following. Right now, we do know that NRS are currently cooking up something in their studio. Senior animator Annie Sinisak has tweeted a photo of himself in NetherRealm Studios' mocap room with the following: testing, are things still on? Blowing the dust off and prepping off for the next show. Now, not to look too deep, but the following emojis is a studio projector and a clapperboard. So this could be a possible nod, but I'm definitely not saying that this is set in stone for sure. I think taking this as confirmation is a little bit too far out there. But it also can't be ignored that senior designer Nick Nicastro has been dropping a lot of images of MKX characters, more specifically Takeda, someone who has been in high demand from the community for a while. So I believe that NetherRealm are teasing at a Kombat Pack 3 as of right now, opposing to any comic book panels that would indicate the idea of Injustice 3. Plus, it's pretty much universally known at this point that due to the C virus, development on a lot of games has been postponed, and whilst Injustice may be a legacy-based fighting game, carrying across previous assets from 1 to 2, financially it's far more cheap to actually make a DLC pack than make an entirely new game from the ground up. Like, let's say making a DLC pack consisting of 3 characters to tie into next gen. Now, again, I want to reiterate this point. I'm not saying Injustice 3 isn't coming out this year, but of the community asking for continued support, the C virus, as well as it being financially cheaper, I say the likelihood of KP3 is much higher than that of Injustice 3. Could Cole be a part of it? Well, yes, the chances are incredibly high, but why is this the case? Well, if you're familiar with my channel or how NRS typically pick their guest characters, it's cross promotion. Guest characters aren't exactly anything new to MK. And whilst Cole may not exactly be anything new to the Mortal Kombat series, if he is introduced in Kombat Pack 3, he kind of tethers on this weird line where he's more of an original character that's set in MK, whilst being one created for a film. And of course, NetherRealm does have a long history of guest characters, really kicking off all the way back in MK9 with Kratos. Now, of course, after this point, we did get the trend of horror guest characters that would later change to 80s action heroes for MK11, with the only exceptions being Spawn and Joker, as Spawn was a highly requested guest character, and Joker was obviously inserted to replace Ash after the licensing agreement had fallen apart between the two sides. Now to somewhat cap this off, NetherRealm has an interesting way of creating character models. Instead of designing them from the ground up like we used to 10 years ago, NetherRealm uses state-of-the-art cameras to physically scan the bodies of people in to insert them in game. The face models are given the same treatment, but are different to the body models in game. A similar thing could be said for the voice acting. So if you really think about it, it takes 3 people to make one character look the way they do, and that's not taking into account the numerous amounts of people in the dev team having to take the parts of the jigsaw puzzle and fit them together. This is actually kind of different in the case of Cole Turner, portrayed by Lewis Tan. This guy lives and breathes martial arts. He plays the character, so it does become a one-person job, and doesn't seem to be as expensive in that sense. It's one person versus 3, and honestly, I think this makes it more than likely to happen. From a financial standpoint, it seems like the most likely choice to have. It falls in line with something we've become accustomed to time and time again. And whilst I may be a big fan of Ash Williams, I don't see that license being resolved anytime soon, especially with his new game on the horizon. Now this is going on the safe bet and assumption that we're getting a Kombat Pack 3 and not another Injustice, which still is indeed likely. But again, please do all remember, this is just a hunch. Realistically, do I think Cole should take priority over another legacy character? I can't really agree with that decision. There's not a lot going on with the character right now. The movie's not out, so I can't in any way, shape and form relate to this character. I can't say I'm invested in a character that I'm yet to understand, but if it's done well, my opinion can be swayed. It's going to take a lot of convincing, mind you, but it is possible. And that is if we're still under the impression that the next DLC pack will consist of 3 characters. One of them will obviously be a guest. And honestly, I'd much prefer to take someone that's based in the Mortal Kombat universe than one that sits outside of it. Whilst it would be nice to have a legacy pack with Mortal Kombat exclusive characters, I am keeping my expectations here realistic. I know people have very mixed opinions on guest characters in Mortal Kombat, but at least if we're going to get a guest character, have it be a guest character that's designed to be in Mortal Kombat. But yes, from what you can tell in this video, I personally think that the chances of Cole Young making it into a combat pack, if not so a main installment, is pretty damn high. I don't think there's a lot of things kind of holding him back, and with cross promotion really being a thing, and them wanting to make this film work, as it's even being released on HBO Max, I honestly can't say I wouldn't be surprised if he turned up at some point. So with this being said, what's your thoughts on the whole Cole Young situation? Are you looking forward to Lewis Tan's portrayal? Would you like to possibly see Cole in a main installment later down the line? And finally, what do you think is next? Kombat Pack 3 or Injustice 3? Please do comment down below. But until then, that's been it for me. I will be keeping you all up to date with Mortal Kombat 11 news as well as the game. So please, if possible, let's try getting this video to about 500 likes, and don't forget to tick that bell, as it will keep you up to date with all my content. But until then, please comment, like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care, and I'll see you all next time.